It is time. All right. Are we going to buy or are we going to sell? Because our coach, our fearless leader, Coach Saleh, has spoken. So it's time to dissect the words, find the value in these words. You missed us last week. We are back this week. Boy Green meets Wudi.
It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome. It is another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. This is James Wudi. We missed you on Thursday, but we are here on Tuesday, Talkative Tuesday. We are talking, and does anybody talk better? Who has the gift of gab more than my man Boy Green? How you doing?
I love that. The gift of gab. That's I got to put that on a t-shirt. That's another good one. That's an original intro. And shout out to everyone who's watching, including I see Abby. She always jumps on. She always is a supporter of the show. So I see you on Instagram, Abby. Keep it real. We're live on YouTube, my Twitter, and the James Wudi on Instagram. And I just love this bit. So to be honest, to be candid, there is an overwhelming amount of content from yesterday with Saleh speaking, Joe Douglas speaking, Woody Johnson speaking. This morning on Boy Green Daily, I tried to dive in on a specific Woody Johnson comment, but there's so much that I feel like we'd be doing a disservice if we just tried to cram all that into a singular Boy Green Meets Woody episode, while it would be jam-packed, and they all are. I feel like a proper portion size, which is what my doctor likes to say, instead of calling me fat, that portion size is the proper way to move through my meal intake. So I'm hoping that's the same way for content as well. Yeah.
Do we have the same doctor? Because I received that message maybe once or twice, but definitely excited to take this Weight Watchers portion, Boy Green. We are going to look at one man's quotes, Robert Saleh. Not sure how the fan base feels about him. I'll come out right now and just say I'm a fan. Always was a fan. Still am. And he had been almost radio silent for a little bit of time
since the end of the season. This was his first comment since. Yeah.
So definitely a lot to pick apart. So obviously he said things. There are quotes. Should I throw a quote your way? Should we just...
Before you do, I guess I'll explain it to the fans real quick. So what we're playing here, and we'll also do this on Thursday with Joe Douglas. We're playing buy or sell. And fans, you could get engaged as you're watching this live. Again, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, keep it coming. I'll be checking all the comments. We are going to present things that Robert Saleh said. Today's episode is exclusively Robert Saleh, and don't worry, he spoke for 32 minutes. There's plenty to buy or sell from Saleh just himself. So we're going to keep it exclusive to Saleh today, but we will present the information in statement form. Me and Wudi will trade back and forth. We picked a ton. I got a full list here of quotes that he said, and we will choose to either buy what they're saying. We agree with it. We believe, we agree with it. We believe it, whatever. We sell it down the road. Like, that's a bunch of malaki and, pack it, pal. No way. So we will give you that one way or the other. So I just want to explain the concept. That's the idea. But sure, Woody, you could go first. Yeah.
Quick shout out to Ricky, New York, talking about Robert Saleh. All right.
Hey, now.
So we'll see.
Tough crowd.
We'll see if we're selling. So the first one, I won't get too. I'll dip a toe in first. I'll dip a toe.
Okay.
In. This one is about the offensive line. He said that there will be changes in terms of the offensive line regimen, that he studied the injury rate and ways to solve it, and that's what they'll be implementing this year for the team. They're not going to change the grass, right? They're not going to change the turf, and install grass. Nope, none of that. Just going to change this regimen and study different ways. Maybe, I don't know, walking upstairs backwards or something like that. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm buying. There's no doubt about it that not just last year, it's the last 2 years, the Jets have had an unbelievable, inexplicable amount of injuries on the offensive line. So the Jets had no other choice but to look at themselves, because initially you can blame it on like certain players. Oh man, we brought a bunch of injury players in here. What happened? But when it happens 2 years in a row to this level, the Jets had no choice but to stare themselves right in the mirror and really just, do a self-eval, which is the hardest thing to do in the world, is just to look in the mirror and say, hey, I got to get up and look at this. It's us. It's not them. It's us. And I think that is. Now, he didn't get into great detail or any detail really about what that includes on this. But from an earlier question, it sounds like, because I'm going to combine some things here. He was asked about like Tyron Smith specifically as a guy, and there's plenty. Morgan Moses coming off a torn pec. John Simpson played in all 19 games for the Ravens, so that was very nice. Tyron was coming off a more healthy season than he had been in a couple of years. And he said, we will be conferring with the Dallas Cowboys, which is cool that the Cowboys are being nice enough to share whatever plan happened to work for them from a practice plan standpoint. That's cool that there's a brotherhood NFL thing. Hey, we'll hook you up. We want Tyron to do as well as he can. So sharing those, that information is really cool. I wasn't sure. I was kind of curious throughout the process. I'm like, I wonder if the Cowboys are going to do the Jets a solid and say, spill their guts on the table. Here's what really worked with Tyron. Or is there like NFL gamesmanship? Like, yeah, figure it out yourself, pal. So it's really interesting that apparently the Cowboys are receptive to that, and they will be helping the Jets from that perspective. And they asked him, is Tyron Smith going to be like pressing a lot less? He said, actually, maybe he'll be practicing more. And I was like, okay. I don't know what that means. So it sounds like they have some weird plan. Sometimes we talk about with weightlifting, I'll use this as an example, that you have the two balances of maxing out, where you do like a kajillion pounds, but you can only do it on a few reps, versus potentially doing a lower weight where you can do it a lot, and maybe that builds strength. So there's different ideologies to this thing. I'm curious to see what the plan is, because really, I don't think Jet fans give a freaking hoot what the plan is. They want to see the results. So if it leads to healthy offensive line play, then awesome. So I buy the fact that they're attempting to do something, that they're trying, that they're going to, that they did look at it and they're looking into it. And we'll see ultimately in the results, but I 100% buy that is true.
Fair. Super duper fair. I guess I'll agree with that. I mean, okay. You look at the other side of that stadium and you see the injuries that the Giants offensive line also suffered. And that's where I start pointing at the turf, man. I highly doubt that the Giants and the Jets offensive lines have the same regimen, but they do have the same turf, and they were the two most injured units in the league. So I guess we'll see what happens there.
Hey, by the way, a quick shout out to a couple of the people in here. We have NY Flight Jets Talk. Paul Boy Green Esden Jr. That's a mouthful. Meets maybe he can give me his second middle name in the future. Perhaps we'll work on that. Jets Chaos is in here. The crew piling in. So shout out to everybody that's popping in. Hit the like button. Show your support for the show. We appreciate you. I see Dark Soldier Crew. He's up in here too. So I appreciate all you guys in here. Let me throw one at you. Let's get a little spicy here. Okay. And this one, I'm going to be honest. It kind of was like, whoa, I didn't anticipate this level of honesty. Okay. But here it is. Robert Saleh said Mike Williams, quote, has a long way to go, end quote, in his rehab from a torn ACL. So he's 5.5 months in from what Williams said from his surgery. He is not expected to be, this wasn't a solid quote, but this is from Douglas, but I'll just work this in because it's important for this. He is not expected to be ready for training camp, Mike Williams, but they do have the full expectation he'll be ready for the season. All of that to say, Wudi, buy or sell, that wide receiver is still a massive need for the New York Jets this offseason. Buy or sell?
Massive need. I'm gonna have to sell. I'm gonna have to sell. massive need. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't get another one, the season is cooked. That's how I perceive. That's how I perceive a massive need. I have to say no. He will be ready for week 1. Here's the thing. They say they liken it to Brees. They said, "Oh, he has a long ways to go," and likened it to Brees. And I'm
The
thinking
timeline of recovery. Yes. Yep.
yes. And I'm thinking last year Brees was running at this time. Brees was running. The season ended, and they were showing us Brees sprinting. I always felt like they were actually just overcautious with Brees's recovery. I felt like he could have actually, and he was saying it. There was never a time where he was like, I got to work on this or anything.
Hold
like
me
that.
back. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he was ready to go. I know, they brought in Dalvin, and the plan was, Dalvin would take the, the most of the carries early and literally play 2 of the offensive season of the New York Jets. That's a 20-yard run, Brees Hall. So it was, or was it, that could have actually been play 1, but either way, Aaron Rodgers made that handoff.
Yeah, he had a 26-yarder. The first 2 carries of Brees Hall's season this past year. Why I know this, I don't know. But the first one went for 26 yards. His second one went for 83. And by the way, Brees, hit the treadmill, pal. That should have been a touchdown. And I love it at the end because we still get the crazy Xavier Gibson walk-off, and there's something so magical about a walk-off win. So if Brees trucks that to the house, then we don't get the drama at the end, I guess. So everything happens for a reason. But come on, Brees, what the hell, man? So
that was his first game back. Cut him some. Are you for real? That was like his first game in 18 months.
You're right. The criticism should go to Garrett Wilson, who's going,
he's celebrating instead of making that block.
He's like, what the hell? He's running like good. And if Garrett just gives him a little love tap, a little hip up, a little, then that guy comes falling down to the canvas, and Brees Hall moonwalks into the end zone. So yeah, you're probably right. It is on Garrett for that little celebration early on the block there, pal. If I'm like Brees, I'm walking back to the huddle. Thanks, Dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
but yes, I'm gonna sell. How it is constructed right now. I do believe in Mike Williams. If they're gonna liken it to Brees's recovery timeline, then that makes me feel even better. He will be ready for week 1. I like Brees. I like Garrett. I like, I know Lazard. And we almost certainly going to talk about him later today as well. But I do think with Rodgers, he is not going to look like the bottom of the barrel that everyone keeps painting him out to be. And in this draft, I'm assuming they're walking away with a receiver in one of these rounds. Doesn't have to be first round.
Okay. All
right. Trade back, could be second round, could be third. But Rodgers, I made it a point. Rodgers has never even played with a first round receiver. Right, Garrett is the first one.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize it was the played one. I knew that he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass to someone who was a former first-round wide receiver, and all of us back then were saying, "Oh, Corey Davis. Oh, Garrett Wilson. Oh, like this." But yeah, to not even play, I didn't even realize that stat. I just knew he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass to a former first-round wide receiver. So it looks like he has plenty of options he could have.
Garrett, Mike Williams, so.
Mike Williams. How did I gloss over that? Obviously, he was a 7th overall pick a couple years ago.
So I'm feeling good there. If they want to grab someone in the 3rd round, that's cool. So I'm gonna have to sell. I'm selling on that, and I'll throw one back to you.
Well, before you do, I'd like to address my own here because I'm an
true.
Yeah. But before I even get there, to your point, I think it's massively important to note that, Mike Williams being on the quote unquote Brees Hall timeline, Brees Hall blew out his ACL in October. Mike Williams blew his out in week 3. It was still September. It was still early in the season when Mike Williams blew his out. So in theory, he is further along because he's had longer time to recover to the point. So that one will be interesting. Remember, Brees Hall wasn't quote unquote ready for training camp. He was on that PUP list and then eventually taken off. And again, perhaps it was just an overabundance of caution there. I'm going to go the other way. I am completely buying that this is a massive need for the New York Jets. And part of it is in the basis of our belief. you are much higher on Alan Lazard having a massive, maybe I'm throwing around the word massive, maybe it's my adjectives, but you are more in line where you believe Alan Lazard is not anywhere near as bad as people are saying. And naturally with Aaron Rodgers, there will be a natural progression, an organic bounce back for old Alan Lazard. I'm not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame this year, but like that there should be a natural bounce back is your take. And while I lean towards that at a at a level that if there's a dead guy laying on the ground, he ain't moving. And if a guy has somewhat of a pulse, he will start crawling. Yeah, so naturally, I think there will be some progression from that to that. But beyond that, Alan Lazard being currently with Mike Williams on the shelf till training camp and beyond right now. Mike Williams is Alan Lazard is wide receiver 3, and I'm like, ooh. Boy, who's wide receiver 2? So to me, I think it's a massive need. That's why it has to be strongly in consideration at 10th overall. And I'm not just saying take any slappy that shows up. Like all the top big 3 are gone. They're like, Brian Thomas or this guy or that guy. No, I'm not saying that at all. Don't force a square peg into a round hole. We've done that before. But I would say is that it's a need so much so that I'd be aggressively looking on how to fill it, whether it's another veteran, free agent, whether it's the draft, trading up and going after one of these big boys, or even the trade market. Hey, I saw the NFL trade deadline got pushed back a week at Devontae Adams jersey. Send that along, baby. So anywho, I'm completely buying that it's a big need for the New York Jets. They have to be aggressive with this because all you are is one injury away from Garrett Wilson being removed, and Mike Williams is still TBD right now, and Alan Lazard is wide receiver 1. Oh boy. All of a sudden, all hell breaks loose very quickly. So Jet fans have to be prepared for injury. Go get me a guy. I am aggressive. I am buying big need. New York Jets, wide receiver. Buy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even going to change the channel here, change the subject because no, I'm not even going to, because I don't think I've seen in Saleh's career as a New York Jet head coach, right? He's had problems with players, right? Elijah Moore was like, get me out of here.
Denzel Mims, sure.
Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton had issues, right? And
that's true too.
Threw the coaching staff under the bus. Oh, they made me play I got injured because of
the switch. Yeah.
Yep.
It got nasty.
And Saleh, all those times, like specifically those 3 guys, never really said anything derogatory. It was just like, hey, we just have a plan, right? We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. We just got to get them up to speed.
Right. Even when some of those guys requested trades, he was like, you know what? Just because someone requested trade doesn't mean they want to leave. He's like, it's just and you're like, what? But it's like a frustration with situations. So you're right. Yeah. He is never on his ledger once. Once he did,
now,
which you're about to get to.
Until now, Alan Lazard, the man is literally counting the days now. He was like, oh, we can't get rid of him until we have this out in 18 months. He said it during the season.
Which is what he said. Yeah, he said, this was a Saleh quote. This was after the Black Friday game. This is Robert Saleh speaking at the mic, to your point, right? He goes, well, Alan Lazard's going to be here for a long time. And he stops himself and goes, well, for the next year and a half. And people go, year and a half? What is he talking about? Alan Lazard is signed for a 4-year deal for $44 million. But if you put a fine tooth comb through that contract, the year and a half he accidentally admitted to the public is when you could get the earliest they could get out of that contract, which it was funny. I just wait because when I listen to every press conference because we do the post-game shows, and I'm like, he didn't just say that, right? Because, like, of course they're saying that behind the scenes. I'm not like dumbfounded, like, wow, that's unbelievable. But saying it publicly was like, whoa, that was an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah, and especially since and like it's not like Lazard is like, oh, I'm having issues with the team or anything like that. Like we've seen that, and Saleh's always just like, no, it's fine. So to have him come out like that in the middle of the season was crazy. But I feel like he's doubling down. He's doubled down in this summit just now, talking about Lazard, right? He's not the first or the last person that signs a big contract and not meet expectations.
Yes.
Try to say a nice thing, right? With the renewed mindset, he's in Dallas, So they're talking, but then he's like, oh, to right like a lot of these wrongs, like just I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it to this degree. This is somebody who was a starting receiver somewhere else. He was successful somewhere else, and he comes in here, and I feel like Saleh hates him. Like hates this guy.
The other quote to throw out is from that same press conference. He basically called out his manhood. He said, he's got to recapture the edge. And a reporter went, recapture the edge? As in he lost the edge? And Robert Saleh was like, well, maybe that was a bad choice of words. But once he said it, it was too late. You can't take that back. I can't say, my doctor's like, Paul, you're fat. What? I mean big boned. Like once you say it, it's out there in the universe. He said to a man, a $44 million free agent acquisition, he said you lost your edge and you got to recapture it. Like that's about as damning of a thing as you could say to a man. I think so.
It is definitely yeah, it is. It is actually.
So what's your buy or sell on this one?
Do you buy or sell Saleh's hatred for Alan Lazard? Like this is a guy who is not going to play or be a big factor this season.
I don't want to give a politically correct answer because we have to pick buy or sell. It's not like, well, someone in the middle. No, like it's buy or sell. Now, I will sell that. I think Lazard will have some sort of role. I buy the hate. Obviously, we've documented it. The things that he said, he's never said about any other player in his Jets history as he's heading into his fourth year. So I buy the hate. I don't know what he pissed in his Cheerios or something. So something's going on there. But I sell the fact that like he's not going to have this role or he will be marginalized in some way. His $10 million salary is on. Yeah, I mean, it is guaranteed. If it wasn't, the Jets would have, again, he was included in trade talks. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think anyone called the Jets and said, hey, that Lazard fella, he available? They're like, you could push us. No, like the Jets obviously tried to offer him to other teams. I guess that counts as trade talks. Yeah. Me and Megan Fox have we're in talks about a relationship. Sure. Yeah. One-way conversation. I slid into her DM, said, hey, you interested? Yeah, I guess technically we're in talks about it. I'll keep you guys posted, by the way, on that fun fact. But no, the fact of the matter is that I believe until we see, is OBJ signed and they draft a guy? Okay, now Lazard is buried outside of injury. But if they don't sign a veteran and the only addition, let's call it either first round or 72 for that matter. Okay, so we got Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, insert rookie, Alan Lazard, and he's one injury away from being in the starting lineup because 3 receiver sets. So, no, I will sell the fact that he's not going to have some sort of impact on this team despite the hate. I think he's going to have a role. He has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
Can't argue with that. You already know I am part of the Alan Lazard Reclamation Project Committee. All right,
I see. It's better than fan club. So,
yeah. Oh no, didn't say that. RPC though, the Reclamation Project Committee. I am a card carrying member. I think it will look better with Rodgers. Rodgers likes him. They have that chemistry, and we've seen it. So, yes, it does seem like there's some sort of hatred there. I don't know what happened, like you said, with the Cheerios. I'm a Frosted Flakes guy myself, but he will have a role. Aaron will make sure of it. And everybody watching, I promise, he will not look as terrible as he did last year.
Okay. All right. Let's stay in receiver just because we've been in that wall. Robert Saleh says, quote, we've been having constant talks, end quote, with wide receiver Corey Davis, who is a free agent, and that the door is still open for return. Buy or sell Corey Davis coming back to the New York Jets in 2024.
That's a good question. I'm gonna have
That's why I asked it, pal.
I'm gonna have to sell. I will sell.
Okay, so you'll be playing for a different team in 2024. Gotcha.
Yes. So I do completely buy that they've been in talks. I mean, we still really don't know what happened for sure.
We don't. Yeah.
We do. It does seem to be extremely amicable on both sides, but I'm sure Corey is looking for, to recoup some of that contract that he lost. Right. I mean, he was getting paid, in that same Lazard ballpark.
Right. It
And
would have been $10.5 million if he ended up playing this year. He did not.
so, yeah, I mean, the team can only afford one Lazard. So they can't just be throwing all these, tall run blocking guys that, only play 10 games a year, all this money. So that's what the Jets had to do. I think Corey Davis, if he did step away from the game, family reasons, now he's coming back. I'm sure passion is a part of it. I'm sure money is another part. So I think he might be in that Bryce Huff mode of, who is the highest bidder. So I don't think that Joe Douglas will go above his number for a player like Corey Davis, which I co-sign. He's a good player. It'd be nice to have, but definitely not worth breaking the bank or bending over for, because like you said, there's a draft. There's other veterans out there. So I do not think that the reunion will be complete.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this one as well. I listened right before our show. I had a family situation, so I was not on the radio earlier today. So the benefit of that, which everything's fine, by the way, I appreciate any thoughts and everything that were sent our way. But the good news of that is I didn't have to travel. So I had an extra 2 hours of my life back that I wasn't traveling to the radio station. So I got to hear a lot more podcasts and things. So the Can't Wait podcast with Zach Rosenblatt and company from The Athletic were on earlier. And I'll tweet out this clip later, but Zach Rosenblatt said that Corey Davis is exploring the market. This was like kind of his reporter nugget in there. He's exploring the market, and unless he doesn't get what he's looking for, he's like, if he does get what he's looking for, he's gone. That's like his primary belief is Corey Davis wants to go somewhere else. If he doesn't find whatever he's looking for, there's a chance he could come back. And I'll add in Rich Cimini's nugget. Rich Cimini, in a column about a week and a half ago, said that Corey Davis is hoping to find a new team closer to his home in Nashville, Tennessee, which could be straight up the Titans, maybe, as wide receiver 3 or 4 in a reunion there. But that's what he's looking for. And if he doesn't get that, potentially he could come back. So there's a lot of caveats potentially. He's coming back here. Again, I get that we have technology. We have the technology. We have a private jet that Corey Davis can get his ass home if he wants to in Tennessee. The team wants him, no question. It sounds like Corey Davis at the very least is kind of like meh. And if someone's like meh, do you even want him back, to be honest? And I'm not trying to be rude, but like Mike Williams' first free agent visit was with the New York Jets. And there's a nice little clip on Twitter you guys can check out about it, that he wanted the Jets and the Jets wanted him. Like as soon as he became available, Joe Douglas said he reached out to Mike Williams and his agent, said, "Hey, we're interested. Like, let us know when you guys start having conversations." And obviously, Mike Williams, the feeling was mutual because the first visit was to the Jets and they didn't let him out of the building, which was our last show that we had before the little mini break. It was like, would Joe Douglas let him out of the building? The answer, no, he wouldn't let him out of the building. So I think that's the important piece of the puzzle to me, that Mike Williams wanted to be here. The Jets wanted him. The Jets want Corey Davis. Doesn't sound like, she's just not that into you. If I could quote a movie, perhaps, and maybe that's a thing for old Corey there. So I will sell that he's on the team. I think he ends up somewhere else.
Well, there are other fish in the sea, Joe Douglas. All right, don't get hung up on old Corey Davis. I got
Woody.
Yes, another one for you. And this one, maybe the quote by itself isn't that noteworthy. Right, he was talking about the offensive line. Actually, Saleh did a great job of kind of breaking down each of the new additions of Tyron Smith, John Simpson, and Morgan Moses, and he ended his explanation with this quote, talking about he's excited about the mental makeup of the room. Obviously, we've got some really good football players, but also we've really added to the mental makeup of the locker room. That is a quote, or that is a concept that he has mentioned since day one. It's actually one of the big reasons why I'm such a fan, is because he really looks at the intangibles, and you can definitely see it in certain players, like how the intangibles, this is this type of player, but when they apply themselves, they become this type of player. But on the other side of that, there always seems to be at least one or two additions that like immediately don't work out, right? Alan Lazard right now is one of them. Mecole Hardman, same offseason, kind of So despite all these things, there always seems to be some sort of disconnect when they add somebody. So the buy or sell here is, do you actually buy this? Do you think it has been a clean sweep in terms of Jets free agents being mentally acceptable for this locker room, or will there be a bad apple like we've seen time and time again?
It's a great question. It's a great buy or sell. I'm going to buy it. I'm a glass half full guy by nature. Everyone's different. A lot of Jet fans I know are the opposite on their glass viewership for that reason. But specifically, I know he was talking about the offensive line. And I was looking back, because I'm a freak, I was looking back at this old One Jets Drive clip from, what would that be, 2023? Maybe it's 2021, when Laken Tomlinson was signed. Another one that obviously didn't work out. But I was looking back, and the One Jets Drive cameras are in their draft and free agency rooms as they're talking to the coaches and stuff. And Robert Saleh has this thing about Laken Tomlinson, which, again, didn't end up proving to be true, but it goes back to the mentality question you had. He said all it takes is having a good one in the room to like infect the rest of them in a good way. So what they were talking about, and it's so fun. I almost showed out the clip, but like I'm Laken's friend, so I didn't want to. But there's a clip of Mike LaFleur. Again, this is pre-Laken. Like they're talking about potentially adding Laken to the room. This is a pre-conversation. And Mike LaFleur and John Benton, who was the offensive line coach, are talking in the room about what they like about Laken. And they said that Laken used to tell everyone, I can take Aaron Donald one-on-one. And, you know, Aaron Donald's going to the Hall of Fame and Laken, you know, ends up getting dumped here. But, you know, they just said that was the mentality, that he thought he could do it. Other people would be pissing their pants like, oh, my God, Aaron Donald over there. But Laken's like, oh, yeah, move it, boys. I've got him. And I get that that's funny now because they're like, hey, boy. But Saleh, coming off of their little chat, it continued the edit. He was like, all it takes is one of those kind of guys in the room to bring that nasty that everyone is like, if he believes, why am I not believing? So the name actually is the least, I was going to say the lesser name, but the lesser name of the group. It's not about Tyron. And it's not about Morgan Moses, who I think both bring an awesome mentality to the table. Tyron Smith is one of the greatest left tackles of all time. And Morgan Moses was like an awesome leader when he was here. But John Simpson, being that little pit bull, the runt of the litter, his story of drafted to thrown aside by his team and then picked up by the Ravens and then earned his left guard starting position and starting all 19 games for the Ravens last year. He just brings a little bit of that nasty. You see some of these clips where he finishes off a defensive lineman in the end zone. He's like, F yeah, F you, pal. We just scored. And there's all those juices and stuff. And Joe Douglas was just talking about that with EA, the Jet senior reporter, that Jet fans are going to lose it when they start seeing John Simpson on the field and how he finishes guys and the physicality and how he celebrates touchdowns, which is unique to offensive linemen. So I'm buying all that. I know your question is probably to the greater level beyond just the offensive line, but specifically on the offensive line, I think it's going to be good. And you know what? Maybe we never get to prognosticate these Mecole Hardmans before they happen. You know, like we don't get to see the explosion before it does, right? So, you know, maybe one of these guys does, but it just doesn't seem like it. The only way, I guess, would be the unfortunate Aaron Rodgers situation. Well, some Mecole's not getting involved. Mike Williams not getting involved because, you know, someone else is there. But I have confidence in Tyrod Taylor. So no, I do not, prognosticate another bunch of Mecole Hardman going on. I do not.
Love it. I wanna believe you so bad, boy Green. You know, I love this team. And I do, you know, like I said that was the big reason why I liked Saleh from the get-go, that philosophy. Looking up and down so far with the people that they've brought in, I'm actually going to buy with you. I'm right there. Solidarity, my brother. Okay. I will definitely, I will take it in because I do believe that. And the little that we've seen, in these last coming days about Carter Warren, now they're, I can't remember which member of the organization said that Tyron's existence would be huge for Carter as well. I actually think it was Joe Douglas. So
Saleh. It was Saleh, actually. It was at the end of his presser. He was asked about that, and he went like massive. Like he had some big adjective to describe it. He went like huge. Huge. It'd be massive for him. Huge. And then he went on to describe the impact it could have on a guy like Carter Warren.
So with something like that, like now you got me thinking, like, is it possible? Because Boy Green, everybody watching, anybody who's ever heard me speak, I say the same thing over and over. I trust the defense development. They they make guys into all pros and Pro Bowls and all that all the time, right? Michael Carter II has been snubbed, but I consider him, he's one of the best nickels in the game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen on offense, but is this the time? Is this finally it?
We're due.
So they got me buying, man. Oh my gosh. I hate coming up just to be let down. But for right now, I'm buying.
All right, let me give you this one. This one got some people rolling, Woody, so I'll be interested to hear your thought. Saleh was asked if the season is a failure if they don't make the playoffs. Saleh's answer, I'll never say that, quote unquote. So, Woody, buy or sell, whether the season's a failure or the season's not a failure, because that's what Saleh's saying. Buy or sell that the season will not be a failure if the Jets don't make the playoffs.
This is a big one, right? Like I feel like that was the number one quote that I wrote, and just saving it to talk about it. If anyone buys that, all right, I got a bridge to sell you down here in Raleigh, North Carolina. What are you talking about? What do you mean? There's no scenario in which that is an acceptable answer or mentality to have. I don't even care if the team is rebuilding. You play the game to win, right? We've heard that time and time again. And this isn't a rebuilding situation, right? I said if it's rebuilt, you still play the game. This is not a rebuilding situation. This is 2 years, maybe 3 of Aaron Rodgers. You need to do everything you can. Squeeze the juice. How many 1-year deals did they sign? Why did they sign all these 1-year deals? Because this is the year. They are going all in. The Hall of Fame left tackle, rental on Mike Williams. They're doing everything they can. If they do all of that, all of these incentives, and don't make the playoffs, that's not a failure. Oh my Lord, I have no idea what Saleh was thinking. Maybe he heard something else. I mean, that's the only because I told you I like this man. I'm a fan.
I do too. Yeah.
But I mean, that was a completely unacceptable, disgusting. I had to brush my teeth after that answer. It was so disgusting, so horrible. Made me throw up in my mouth. I needed Listerine. Terrible answer. The worst answer to any question I've heard all year.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of potential excuses in the chat for why Saleh could have said that. Dark Soldier says maybe Saleh is saying it because he's superstitious. I have the Freedom House, 1984. It does depend. If we go 12-5, don't get in, I want them back. Yeah, but okay. There's no way Saleh was answering the question for the completely unlikely scenario that a team goes because I just watched the Dynasty, the Patriots documentary, and the year that Tom Brady goes down, the Patriots go 11-5 and miss the playoffs. So right, Jet fans complained in 2015 we're 10-6. Patriots were 11-5 and didn't even make the playoffs in that year that Brady went down. So but in a 7-team playoff now, which neither of those scenarios covered, it's incredibly unlikely that you do this crazy ass record, and that's not good. And by the way, if 12-5, let's say for your example, Freedom House is not good, who the hell won the division? And who the hell else was up there at 14, 15 wins? What in God's green earth? So anywho, I just thought it was a terrible answer. And I get it. We all know, obviously, you have Aaron Rodgers, you have the 1-year deal pieces. It's obvious that it's a playoffs. But I would just like to hear him say it because, Rex Ryan, when he came in, said, I didn't come here to kiss Belichick's rings. And immediately Jeff Friend's I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, okay. And it injected, especially coming off Eric Mangini, who is the at press conference, to get Rex Ryan burst through the door, and he's wearing Rob Ryan fat suits and wigs and all that. And I'm not saying Saleh has to do that, although that would be funny. But to just come out and say, we're coming for you. And all the pressure's on me, the head coach, and not on my players, which I thought was a unique thing Rex Ryan doesn't get credit for, is he was boastful because it hid everyone when things came. The bullets came for Rex Ryan, and the players weren't getting the heat. It was Rex Ryan saying these things, but he also infused confidence into the fan base and the team with his bravado. And that's really what it would be cool to see. And again, it's not Super Bowl. That wasn't the question. I get it last year, the Hard Knocks in this, and they embrace the Super Bowl expectation. We're talking about the playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs where they haven't been since the year 2011 in the 2010 season. Yeah, I think, yeah. And then they twist his arm enough, the media, because there was a 32-minute chat. They said, well, would you say it's fair to say that a coach going into his fourth year, it's playoffs or bust, basically? He's like, well, I guess you could say that. Like, because he ain't getting another chance if it's over. So if you don't make the playoffs, it's done. So, of course, the playoffs. So, anywho, that was a quote that's getting a lot of run, but I just wanted to say that I'd prefer if Saleh would have just came out and said, obviously, it's playoffs or bust, baby. We're going all in. That's the mentality. And if you get a ticket to the dance, anything can happen, basically. I would have preferred that.
I couldn't agree more. I love Rex. How you broke that down, and compared and contrasted was beautiful, honestly, because that's exactly how I feel. And that's why I'm so upset, because it wasn't super, it's not, we're winning it all. Just make the playoffs, man. 7 teams. What are you talking about? That's not a fail. Like, that's my biggest gripe with it. Like, I honestly, if I'm Woody, I'm saying you guys need to win a playoff game.
Oh, me too. I don't think it's enough. Yeah, let's just establish that real quick since we're talking about it. To me, simply ending this embarrassing playoff drought, and it's embarrassing. It's not just the longest in the NFL, it's the longest in all 4 major sports in America. So, it's embarrassing. And I want the drought to end, obviously. But just getting there and getting a participation trophy to say, hey, everybody, the streak's over. And then it's okay. Last year was disappointing. This year we made the playoffs. And then next year, for sure, we're going to win one. No. I'm not on this incremental progression train. I've had 13 years of nothingness. It's time to hit the accelerator program. I'm trying to skip a few grades. So, yeah, I want them to make the playoffs. And then, in my opinion, the quote I will use, and maybe this will get some run this season, is make some noise in the playoffs. What does that mean? Is that win 1 game, 2 games, go on a run? My expectation personally is Super Bowl. That's what I want for this team. That's the bar. We're playing on the beach. I'm like, Super Bowl. That's what I'm chasing as a Jets fan. We have Aaron friggin' Rodgers at quarterback, this defense, everything else. That's what we're chasing. But again, in retrospect, saying, hey, what did they do? They got to the AFC Championship game. They made some noise and had a crazy game against the divisional round. Like, that should be it. So to me, just making it would not be enough for me. I'd fire people if that happened.
Definitely. Super Bowl obviously is the goal. If we want to talk about in between winning a game and Super Bowl, I mean, AFC Championship, I would have to say, everybody survives. Before that,
yeah,
somebody better lost in overtime or something. There must have been something, yes, this team is supposed to make waves. Like you said, the excuses, right? This happens, that happens. Honestly, if Aaron Rodgers goes down again for some reason, just like the absolute worst luck in the world, I'm still expecting a playoff berth.
Oh, 100%. Sucks to suck, pal. Like, you don't keep getting a mulligan after mulligan after mulligan. Like, okay, that's why you have Tyrod Taylor. Now, that would suck because I really want to see this Rodgers thing through. But Tyrod Taylor, slap on the cheeks. You move up the lineup, and then you should go pursue aggressively another quarterback that's available if that were to happen. Yes.
So, I was... Hey, everybody watching, it's not every day that Boy Green and James Wudi are in lockstep in any regard, but in this regard, this playoff mandate, what we're expecting to see from this team, we are complete lockstep, left, right, that we should be marching to the playoffs regardless of what happens with that injury bug.
Wudi, do you have any left? If you do not, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, us speaking right now, we could talk about QB3 because that was another quote that he said. But that was my last one was the playoff mandate because that was just the most outrageous.
Okay, I just have a few rapid fire ones, so we can end with your quarterback one if you'd like.
I mean, rapid fire. I feel
Okay.
like everybody loves the fire.
Yeah, here it is. Quote, winning off seasons doesn't matter, end quote. Robert Saleh.
Buy that. We've been winning
I
all
sell
seasons.
that.
The entire
I sell
what?
that.
The
I
entire.
love winning off seasons. It's the best. As a Jets fan, it's the best thing of all time. I completely sell that. Winning off seasons
Are
doesn't
you
matter. Who the hell are
serious?
you, Robert Saleh? You've only been here for 4 years, pal. I've been here for like 20 plus years. I love winning off seasons. It doesn't matter.
It literally means nothing.
Headlines, baby. Stories, sex appeal, off
What is-
seasons.
Oh my god!
Hey,
I
just
can't believe
because
it.
you win off seasons doesn't mean you have to lose the season. Why not both? The El Dorado scene? Both? Yes, both. Yeah, both. Yes. Yeah.
No, they haven't figured out both. So if we have to choose one or the other, I would choose the other.
Okay. Let me throw another rapid fire one at you. It's okay. ABT is penciled in to play right guard on this team. The buy or sell is this, that if injuries happen on the line, that they will stick by that plan and ABT will remain a right guard? Or will they, as soon as injuries happen, say, sorry, ABT, I know what we promised you. Move your ass to left tackle, move your ass to right tackle. I ask you, do you buy or sell that they will stick to their plan? They said, barring injury, even with injury, they're keeping him at right guard. Do you buy or sell that?
You know what's an interesting factor to include to that we don't know
What's
yet
that?
is his fifth year,
Which comes up on May 2nd. Correct.
Yes. So I don't know what their level of is that engagement? No, it's not engagement.
Commitment?
Commitment. There it is. Yes, that is the exact word. Is if they were to opt in, I would be more inclined to buy that because they care about the long term health of.
That
the
you
team.
would be willing to buy that he stays at right guard no matter what.
Yes.
Okay.
But if they don't, then I'm more inclined to sell that whatever they need this year.
Because what does it matter? I get you.
Yes. So I don't know their level of commitment. I do think that they do believe that the musical chairs at the offensive line has contributed to his injury. But if they're not willing to pay him or commit to him beyond his rookie contract, then that probably won't matter to them that much. They need him to play wherever he can. So May 2nd, come back to me.
Yeah, that's a fair analysis. I think they will be accepting it, which will then, it scares me though, because they've promised us things before. And then ABT, yes, about that tackle, like Elijah Vera, tackle, get your ass out there. So I am a little nervous that they will do that. Again, the Joe Douglas answer at the combine was weird that you wouldn't just say, of course, we're accepting it, because that's what they did for Quinnen. So it's weird they haven't. So maybe we'll be surprised based on what happens in the draft, but I fully expect them to accept that as well. And then here's my last rapid fire one. And then we can finish off with your quarterback thing. Robert Saleh says, quote, I felt like Todd Downing and Nathaniel Hackett would be enough. And that was in response to adding another person to the room in terms of play calling. I ask you, Wudi, will Todd Downing and Nathaniel Hackett be enough for the Jets on offense? Buy or sell?
This year?
Well, yeah. 10 years from now? What am I, your boss? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? No, yeah. Will they be enough as a pair? Saleh said he normally operates with 3 people in his offensive room, like kind of running the show. And they attempted to find a third person from what I've heard, but they failed. So now he's like, well, Todd Downing and Nathaniel Hackett will be enough in the offensive room with Rodgers to figure it all out this season. Buy or sell, they will be enough.
I will buy it actually with Rodgers healthy.
Look at you.
If he goes down, then get ready to sell every share we got. But I'll buy it. I mean, Rodgers, he knows what he likes. This is just one of those rare. What's the word? Just the word I keep thinking of is delicacies, but I'm not talking about tres leche cake or anything. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers having a veteran quarterback who's been in this league such a long time.
A unique opportunity. Yeah.
Yes. To know what he likes. Like this is what Nathaniel Hackett, the opportunity he has right now is, what Adam Gase had with Peyton Manning. Peyton knows the types of plays that he likes, the types of looks, what he does in certain scenarios when he sees certain things. And now you have the dynamic people on the outside, the tight end and the explosive running back. Aaron Rodgers, because of Joe Douglas's work right now, has set himself, he's set up very similarly, right? He has explosive weapons on the outside, explosive running back, tight end, whether it's Tyler Conklin or Brock Bowers. So Hackett really just needs to take the feedback from Rodgers, and it'll be pretty simple. If it's Tyrod Taylor, no disrespect to Tyrod, but I don't think anyone is putting him in the same class as Rodgers, then yeah, it's going to look pretty bad. But if Rodgers is healthy, I'll buy it, baby.
That's it. Yeah, just simple for me. I won't go on a long diatribe. I buy. Aaron Rodgers is ROC as far as I'm concerned. So, yep, purchase. Make that purchase. All right, Woody, go ahead. Finish up with your last one. We'll get out of here.
Well, it was just it's super simple. Just Saleh talking about how they were definitely looking to get a QB3. I'm assuming that's an automatic buy, but are you looking at rookie, right? A draft or another vet?
A good question. It is the automatic buy from the fact there has to be a third and a fourth for camp, which is what Saleh said a little bit there. But I think in all reality, he meant like a real QB3. And I don't think he meant like, hey, we're getting Ryan Tannehill to be the QB3. I don't think that's what he meant. I just think he meant like it's not going to be Tim Boyle, basically. That it's going to be either a developmental kid that they feel good about or some low-cost veteran. I'm trying to think of a really good example. These people are retired, but like a Charlie Whitehurst. What a random pull that is. Like a Charlie Whitehurst, a guy that you would feel good about if they had to be forced into the game, but it's not crazy money. So it is an automatic buy that they're getting a third quarterback. My gut says it's going to be the draft. And that also is the push point for Zach Wilson, which is another conversation we can have a different time. But I think it will be a rookie. And at that point, you're not carrying Rodgers, Tyrod, rookie, and Zach for very long, I don't think. So I believe it will be a rookie. We'll see when in the draft it is. I'd probably prefer day 3. See who your favorite guy is, because I think there's a major benefit to having that person in the room with Aaron Rodgers. So automatic buy, there's another quarterback. And my lean on who that is a rookie in the 2024 NFL draft.
Fair enough. I'm personally hoping it's another vet, not the real Charlie Whitehurst, but esque, Whitehurst esque. But yes, what we shall see. Brock Purdy's don't grow on trees, so I'm not a big fan of the day 3 developmental prospect, but that is buy or sell, the solid addition.
By the way, I just looked this up because where the hell did Charlie Whitehurst come from? He's 41 right now, and he hasn't played in the league since 2016, 8 years ago. So I have no idea why that random-ass name just popped up into my brain, but shout out to Charlie Whitehurst for that random pull. But, Woody, I love this show. This was such a cool concept. It was cool to get the fans involved throughout the program. So that was awesome. So thank you everyone who was chiming in throughout the whole show. It was really fun to hear you guys buying or selling or going either way. That was really cool. So I'm looking forward to it as we currently have it scheduled, unless breaking news or something crazy happens. Thursday, it'll be a fun buy or sell with Joe Douglas, especially looking ahead to the draft. There's a lot of Joe Douglas buy or sell things he said that piqued my interest. So Thursday at 3:00, we could do some Joe Douglas buy or sell from the NFL owners meetings, which would be a lot of fun, Woody.
Yes, absolutely. Be looking forward to it. I've been saying a lot of things about Joe Douglas. So now we can actually dissect his words instead of mine coming this Thursday.
It'll be fun. We have Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning, guys. We'll see you live at 7:30. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you support the show, whether you're watching live or after the fact. We have over 500 people in the room. We appreciate you. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe down below on YouTube, and show your support whether you're watching on Instagram or Twitter. Hit that follow button for more juicy New York Jets content, baby. We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.